Hey everyone, it's Gamefruitpulp. Welcome back to another Minecraft video on the Valcrest server. Today we're going to be kicking off the Valcrest mini-series that I'm going to be doing. Just giving some recommendations or some maybe ideas on how to improve the Valcrest experience and make the experience even better than it is now. So this is going to be, I'm not really sure how many videos this is going to be. Right now I have 3 or 4. For sure, and if any ideas are recommended to me that I think are good, or any ideas that I think of myself that I think would make the server better, I'll bring those up in a video as well. But I just want to sort of point this out beforehand so that people don't take it the wrong way. This is not me in any way trying to say that the admins on the server or TO are doing a bad job. I'm just saying that they're busy trying to get the server out of beta, and so if there's any ideas that we have as the players that we think could make the server a better place, there should be brought up by the players, not just waiting for the admins to sort of think of them themselves. So like I said, there's no bad feelings towards the admins or anything like that. I think they're doing a great job, and I'm really enjoying the updates that have been coming out lately and the events. And if we want the admins to be able to put on these great events, we need to sort of pick up some of the weight that they have to carry and some of the ideas, in my opinion. So I guess the first thing that we'll talk about before I get into my actual idea is the economic situation right now on the Valcrest server. And the situation right now, I don't think it's as big of a deal as people are saying on the forums currently. For those of you who don't know, Valcrest has an economy just like the real world. It has an economy with a dollar, and the dollar has seen severe deflation over the past few months. We've seen items that were previously being sold for $10,000 now selling for $5,000, and so this is obviously a pretty big concern. Part of the problem, in my opinion, is that exchanges within the economy are just harder to come by now. A lot less people are using the Minecraft economy, and I think part of the reason for that is that a lot less players have capital that they're able to spend. And so one of the easiest ways, or not the easiest way, but one of the ways to fix this issue is to get capital, get money, and put it in the players' pockets. Now, I'm not implying that there should just be handouts or the wages should increase by any means, but my idea sort of stems around the fact that there's a lot of players also asking for more things to explore just in the map in general, so through dungeons and things like that. And so my idea sort of combines these two things, and instead of expecting the admins to build these dungeons, I thought it'd be a good idea just to have general players build them. And so my idea is basically that the player goes out into wherever, the wilderness, or maybe even within their town, or on a build server set up by the admins, and sets up or builds a dungeon or an abandoned building or an abandoned warehouse or something like that they think would fit well just in the wilderness, out in the middle of nowhere in the Valcrest server. Now, this idea could work one of two ways. The first way is either the player just goes out into the wilderness and builds it. I don't think that will work as well as my second idea, which is that the players build it and then the admins move it to a random place so that the player who builds it can't just tell their buddies where it is. And so the reason I think this is a good idea is because, one, it gives the players something else to do on the server. A lot of players come on and they say, oh, I'm bored, I don't know what to do, and they just get off, instead of trying to either go exploring or do something like that. And if someone comes on the server and says, I'm bored, and one of the things they can do is build something that other players can spend their time looking for, spend their time exploring. And this is something that I think replaces what, in my opinion, isn't really a fair assessment of the builder rank. One of the higher up builder rank tiers is that your town needs to place in the culture section of the town tournament. Obviously, if you're a newer town, you can't get that because there hasn't been a town tournament in the past few months. And so I think that one option is instead of having the town, your builder rank based on the town you're in, have just more server based building criteria. So like significant structures, public structures, you could have public structures instead of being just small and non-important structures. You could have public structures be structures that are out in the actual server for players to explore, or you can call them exploration destinations or something like that. Build another criteria for building that players can sort of strive towards and do in their spare time. And so I think that the best idea for this is maybe have each town set up an area or a plot or a group of plots within their town that the admins, it's sort of agreed upon that the admins will come and remove the buildings that are built there. And so the player can build, let me just say, for example, we'll say an abandoned windmill. And within that abandoned windmill, there'll be all sorts of traps because it's abandoned. We can have like pitfalls in the place, just holes in the floor. and some sort of loot within the windmill that's related. So I don't know, we can say it's a windmill, so we could say maybe it was a grain mill at the time. It created grain, so we could have bread, or we could have wheat. And from there, the admin cuts the building with world edit from the town and moves it to just a random place on the server. Now, one idea with this that I think maybe would work better, just because the server does have the tendency to have buildings just completely destroyed when they're looted and players just collect all the materials, is maybe have the chest unlocked but the building itself protected, so that similar to a town, if the town isn't already destroyed by people and pillaged, the village is able, or the structure is able for players to explore in the future. So maybe they have the building itself protected but the chest inside locked, and so players can sort of choose what they're sort of exploring, or what they want to build for other players to explore on the server. And that doesn't remove the option of them exploring it themselves by having the admins move it to a random place, because I guess part of the concern is that you're doing all this work and then you can't even go and look for your build in the future. Now, the most important part of this, in my opinion, for this to be a successful thing, and the reason it will help get the Valcrest server out of this economic depression they're facing, is the fact that I believe that these jobs should be paid for by the server, by I guess we'll call it the government in this case, the server government. And to do this, simply because, like I said, you don't want to just give handouts to all the players that play, because that will just cause hyperinflation, and that's not what you want either. And that doesn't really get any more money in the economy. It just makes the money worth less that's currently in the economy. But you want to provide players with more opportunities to work. Right now, there's not very many people that are giving out just jobs to do. And so this is an opportunity that I think obviously the admins would need to discuss the payment, how much it will be, whether it's per plot size, like per the size of the structure, or something like that. But my thoughts are some sort of maybe around $500 for a 4-plot build, like $1,000, basically in the tiers. Each tier worth a building. If it's a tier 1 building, it'll be worth a certain amount. If it's a tier 2, it'll be worth a certain amount. If it's a tier 3, it'll be worth a certain amount. Then if it's even bigger than that, if it goes into the mega structure, the significant structure, then that's something else to talk about as well. But I think that these should be paid for by the server as a way to sort of offset all the mass amount of work that needs to be done by the admins and the build team and all this stuff. And I understand the importance of the build team, but I think that it's also a good idea without the sort of vetting, because you don't need to give players access to another server. If the players just sort of build it in their own town and the admins move it and lock it, and I don't know whether the admins will choose the loot or the player will choose the loot, but I think it gives a good option for the more exploration, because I know quite a few players, including myself, would kind of wish there was more to sort of explore on the Valcrest server. And I think this is a good opportunity now, especially as Dynamap is sort of getting almost back to the stage where it'll be released, for the players of the Valcrest server to sort of hop on and look for things like this. And so that's pretty much it for my first idea. I'm hoping that you guys think it's a good idea. I'm hoping that you think it'll make the server a better place. If you're watching this on the forums, there's going to be there's going to be a poll underneath this, basically with a yes or no question whether you think this is a good idea, just so that the admins and TO and the build team and everyone can get a better idea of whether there is support for this. If there is support for this, I think it's a good idea. If you don't, that's completely fine. Let them know in the poll, because just because I think it's a good idea does not mean everyone does, and doesn't mean it should be in the server. And if you're not watching on the Valcrest, or sorry, if you're not watching on the forums and you're watching on my YouTube page, then be sure to comment whether you think this is a good idea or not. And that's pretty much everything. My mic has this auto shutdown feature, and I keep having to press my thing, and I don't know if it's going to turn off like it did last video, but hopefully it doesn't. So that's going to be everything. Like I said before, be sure to leave some feedback on this so that we can get a better team at the Valcrest server can get a better idea if this is a feature that they want to include. This is probably part 1 of 3 or 4, or maybe more. I don't know. If you have other ideas and want to share them with me in the comments, and I think they're good ideas, then I'll share them in a video as well. If you haven't checked out the Valcrest server, be sure to check it out. The IP will be in the description down below. And if you're not subscribed to my channel and you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And for those of you who are subscribed, I almost forgot about you, Thank you for your continued support, and if you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like and a favorite, and maybe share the video with some of your friends as well, just because, as you may or may not know, I'm trying to grow as much as I can just to try and get out to a bigger community. Not only helps my channel, but on these videos it helps the server as well, because more people have the potential to check out the awesome server that we all play on. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and you have a good day. I will see you guys all in the next one. Have a good one.